Alright, in this video I'll finish up making my underwater house. It's a pretty chill video, don't really get into anything too crazy. If this is your first time here, welcome, thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe, really helps me out a lot. Other than that, let's just get into these Reddit stories. The first story. Am I the asshole? Mid-30s couple with an 8-month-old baby. Am I being unreasonable about a short camping trip? My wife and I are in our mid-30s. We have an 8-month-old baby and a dog. We do not have family help nearby, but we do have close friends who can help in an emergency. My wife is currently on full-time maternity leave, and we are breastfeeding. I, the husband, work from home full-time and love camping. I did not go on any camping trips during the first 8 months because I wanted to be fully present and adjust to life with a newborn. During this time, my wife and baby also spent a couple of months staying with her parents while I stayed back at home with the dog. I was fully supportive of this and encouraged her to spend as much time there as she wanted. I now have a 3-night, 4-day camping trip coming up. It feels like we have had time to settle into our new routine, and I feel it should be okay for me to go. I also have a couple of unavoidable 5-night work trips coming up in the next few weeks. To make sure my wife also gets a break, we have already done a couple of 2-night Airbnb trips close to our city. Right after my camping trip, I have planned a 3-night family trip so we can spend quality time together and so we can feel refreshed. Despite this, my wife keeps saying that other husbands would not go on a camping trip while they have an 8-month-old at home. I'm struggling with this and I feel hurt and frustrated. Despite being intentional about family time and planning trips for us, I still have to justify a short personal trip. I am being unreasonable in thinking that an 8-month adjustment period is enough to take a 3-night camping trip. Or am I missing something important here? And then a little recap. First time parents with an 8-month-old. I skipped camping for the first 8 months, supported my wife staying with her parents, and planned family trips. I want to take a 3-night camping trip, but my wife says other husbands would not do this with an 8-month-old. Am I being unreasonable? End story, but I'm going to go into the back and forth as far as this discussion. My initial thoughts when reading this, it's kind of hard, and this is something I've lived through. So as far as having a baby and postpartum, so I understand that is real. That is kind of the biggest back and forth that people are going to give in the discussion that I'm going to get into in a second. So I understand that. Me personally, I'm thinking about it from a man's perspective. I personally don't think you're being unreasonable or being selfish. The only reason I say that is she's on maternity leave, of course, to take care of the baby. You are making, or at least what you're putting out is that you're being very supportive. You've been around, you take care of her, you take care of the baby, you pick up your slack, you hold your own as far as relationship. Where I see this from a man's perspective, that's the thing with these debates on the internet. I feel like some sides just don't give each other grace, or they don't see it from other people's sides. They just look at the other person, and or if it's a woman, they just side with the woman off top. If it's a man, they side with the man off top. I get her being upset, especially like I said with postpartum depression and all those things. I get her being upset or her not wanting you to go. I completely understand that 100%. I don't want to discredit that if she's not comfortable with that. Where I come in to throw him a little bell is he's still working, even though he works from home. Let's not, downplay that, but he's still working. He's still pulling a slack with taking care of the family. I don't think it's wrong for him to want some alone time. I genuinely don't. Because yes, the argument is she just had a baby. She carried the baby for 9 months. She is postpartum. She is depressed. Her emotions are out of whack. I completely understand that. But from a man's perspective, if you're taking care of everything, you're taking care of the family, you're holding your own as far as the baby, taking care of things, it's not wrong for you to want some me time too. It's not wrong for a woman in a relationship with the baby to want some me time. It's not wrong for either partner to want that. But like I said, it just depends on a relationship. If she's just not happy with that, then that's kind of the situation you're in, dude. I don't think it makes you unreasonable. I don't think it makes you an a-hole, but that your wife just doesn't want that at the time. And it's just an is what it is thing. I don't think either of you are a-holes for that. I don't think you're an a-hole for wanting me time. I don't think she's an a-hole for not wanting you to go. It's just a situation where she's just not comfortable. I feel like both partners at some point, you just get burnt out. When you have a family, you have kids, you just get burnt out. And it's not a bad thing. It just comes with the territory. And you just want some personal time. You just want to be by yourself. Or you want to go do something you enjoy that you haven't done in a while. especially since he started out the article by saying he loves camping and he hasn't been able to do that in 8 months, so he can take care of all of his responsibilities on his end. So I don't think he's an a-hole. Where the replies come in is where people are just ripping him a new one, just acting like he's being completely insensitive. And because one person put out, we are not breastfeeding, she's breastfeeding. See, because that's the thing. When it comes to marriage, I don't think it's funny because people who aren't in relationships or people that are single have the most to say about relationships. But when you're in a relationship, everything is we. It's not I. Even if physically, no, a man can't breastfeed. If someone were walking up to a husband and they say, "Is your baby on formula?" No, we breastfeed. That's everything becomes we when you're in a relationship or you're married. Everything is we. That's just how we talk. That's how things are described. It's not a knock on the woman because obviously a man can't breastfeed. But yeah, we're breastfeeding the baby. It just rolls off the tongue. It's just what you say when you're in a relationship. It just says what you're in a marriage. But people are harping on that. When you're in a relationship, you're a team. It's we. It's no longer I and you. It's we. I don't know. I just see a lot of replies where people are ripping him a new one, acting like he's a terrible person or saying he's a bad husband for wanting this trip. Again, I don't think he's a bad person for wanting the trip. I feel like it's reasonable for both people to want alone time after having a baby. Obviously, the mother does put in more work physically, emotionally, because a man can only do so much. A man can't breastfeed. The baby, 9 times out of 10, wants to be with the mom over the dad. It kind of is what it is. It's not a knock on either party. It's not a diss to either party. It's just mother takes over, especially since he was careful to plan trips afterwards and make sure he gets his time with his wife. I don't feel like he's being unreasonable. His wife just doesn't want him to go, and that's just the situation it is. I don't think she's being unreasonable in wanting that either. She just had a baby, postpartum depression. He even replied to somebody's comment saying, also, we can't go on trips every weekend. For me to highlight the trips in my post was to give examples of the fact that I am mindful that my wife wants to change, and I'm putting effort towards that. It's not just the trips, but there are many little things I do on a daily basis to ensure she gets a break or feels better. And yes, I did all the trip prep so that she just had to get in the car and go out. She loved both trips and was very grateful. Again, ultimately, I see both sides. He doesn't seem like a bad husband. He just wants alone time. His wife says, hey, she's not comfortable with that right now. That's a situation. Not unreasonable people. Both seem pretty cool to me. Because again, from a man's perspective, when you take care of everything, you just want to break. You just want to break. So I'm with him 100%. And again, I'm with her 100% for not feeling comfortable with it. It is what it is type of situation. I don't think you're an asshole. The next story. Am I overreacting for throwing out my roommate's flowers? I, 24 female, live with 2 roommates. Let's call them Eric and Anna. Eric, 24-year-old male, was given a beautiful bouquet of flowers from his girlfriend for their 1-year anniversary, which included 2 lilies. Now, I have a cat. I'm the first person to live in this apartment, and I've had my cat since before Eric and Anna moved in. If you don't know, lilies are deathly to cats. Even the smallest pollen can be fatal. So when I saw that bouquet of flowers on the table, I quickly put this in his room while he wasn't home and shut his door. We have an open door vibe in this apartment. When he got home, he was furious. I had gone into his room and moved his flowers without asking. He insisted on keeping the flowers on the table because he thinks they're pretty to look at while eating his meals. I explained to him that my cat will literally die if he gets into them. My cat doesn't typically jump on the table, but there's always an if. He might randomly jump onto the table, get into the flowers. I told Eric that if he doesn't keep them in his room with the door shut, I would toss them. He refused, so I took them and threw them into the dumpster. He's furious because he wanted to preserve them for their wedding. I warned him and gave him the opportunity to keep them. End story. No, you're not overreacting. You told him the reason you did it. He didn't want to do it for whatever reason. On top of, who's going to tell him that this dickhead's flowers are going to die long before that wedding? I don't know I'm not a type of person to judge, bro. I get that it was a gift from your girl. I want to keep these flowers on the table because they're beautiful. Hey, you can't keep them there because they're dead. That's like, I don't know. That just doesn't make sense. You gave him a very valid reason why they can't be there. He could put them in his room. No issue there. Did you put something that was mine into my room? Why'd you get mad? I put something that's yours in your room. Eric is weird, bro. I'm sorry. You want to preserve these flowers until your wedding day. You want to keep them on the table. because they're pretty to look at while you eat your meals. And you're mad because I put something that's yours in your room. Eric is whack. No, you're not overreacting. You had a very valid reason. Eric seems like, yeah, I'm not trying to bully this man. Eric sucks. Let's just keep it at that. The next story. Am I the asshole for asking my friend to pay me back for the wine he drank while house sitting? So I, 26 female, had my friend, 27 male, watch my place and my cat for the weekend. I told him he could help himself to whatever in the kitchen, which I thought was like common sense for snacks and stuff. I got back and realized he opened this 120 bottle of vintage Barlow I was saving for my promotion. He literally drank the whole thing alone while watching Netflix. When I asked him about it, he got all weird and said I gave him permission because the wine was in the kitchen. Like, okay, but who drinks $100 bottle of wine without asking first? I sent him a Venmo for $80, gave him a discount, lol. And now he's calling me tacky and told our group chat I'm a bad host. I feel like there's literally an unwritten rule of guest logic where you don't touch the most expensive thing in the house. If I tell you to help yourself to my garage, it doesn't mean you can just drive off in my car. I don't know. Am I being an asshole here? He's making me feel like I'm being extra, but I feel like he totally took advantage of me. I don't know. It's also just $120. End story. Do I think you're an asshole? No, but I feel like you should just kind of take your L and just know better for the next time. Know what to say if you don't want something touched or looked at. Yeah, put it away. Anything you don't want them touching, put in your closet or in your bathroom or something. Just put it away. Doesn't make you an asshole. Does make you look away, but especially because you literally gave him the instructions. Help yourself to whatever. Language matters, words matter, and he took you up on that. So, like I said, like you said, it's $120. I would just chop it up to the game, take your L. Wouldn't say he's a bad person for clowning you for it, because he did what you said. Chop it up to the game. $120 gone. I mean, it'd be nice if he paid for it and or helped you out with another bottle, but also it's like one of those things where you're expecting this person to know the value of something that you care about. It's like for car guys, a car drives by, it's a Mark IV Supra. A dude's like, whoa, that's a Mark IV Supra. And a girl just sees it, it's an old ass car, It's just one of those type of situations. People, not everyone knows the worth of what they're looking at. If you know, you know. It's that type of situation. So I don't think either of you are in the wrong necessarily. I don't think you're an asshole. It's just a learning lesson. The next story. Am I the asshole for telling a coworker that she doesn't get special treatment just because she's sad? This title makes me sound like a jerk for sure, but hear me out. I work in a small office building for an estate company. I've been working there for 6 months now. In November, a coworker of ours, I'll call her Lena to make it easier, came out as bi to us while we were grabbing dinner after work on a Friday. She told us she's known for months and now has been sitting on it to come to terms with it, and that she was planning on telling her BF that night, but she wanted our opinions first. I understood it because most people on that table were her besties and we were all civil together and we were all girls, so maybe she wanted a girl's opinion. Anyhow, the weekend goes by and she returns to work absolutely wrecked. I'm talking eyes puffy, hair a mess, and wearing the same clothes from Friday. I've heard from the grapevine that her boyfriend didn't take it well and dumped her. They've been together for 4 years apparently, so she's obviously distressed. For the whole week, her performance was absolutely horrendous. No work done, no meetings attended, absolutely nothing. Our team leader was good friends with Luna, so she divided Lena's work. I assume you meant to put Lena? I'll start out over. Our team leader was good friends with Lena, so she divided Lena's work on the rest of us. Just for the week, she said. But this continued on until now. We're in February. Yesterday, the team leader decided to give me one of Lena's projects because this would have been her 5th anniversary with her boyfriend. I said no. I already had my own work. Why would I do someone's work for her? And she gets paid for absolutely nothing, while I'm still struggling with my salary and now double the work. The team leader threatened to write me up. So I went to HR and told her everything that had been happening, showed her the emails where the team leader gave us Lena's work and told us to be patient. On lunch break, Lena tried to corner me, telling me she's going through a rough time and that she should be supportive. I told her I was supportive, but now she's just milking it. She comes and goes as she pleases because the team leader covers for her. She doesn't work because her work gets handed to us. It's not fair. I told her just because she's sad and she got dumped, that doesn't mean we all need to pick up her slack. We all have lives and problems, but we don't make it each other's problems. She called me a C word, and I just walked back to HR and told her what happened. They were both called in for a meeting, and she's now facing possible termination, according to the same grapevine. I don't think I was in the wrong for going to HR. I'm not going to work for someone else, and they get to hand it in and take all the credit. However, I think that I probably shouldn't have said what I said. 4 years is a long time, and she did look absolutely wrecked. But at this point, it was getting a bit ridiculous to still expect such treatment. Am I the asshole? End story. I feel like you were completely justified in everything that you did in this scenario. You went to HR, you didn't badmouth anybody, you didn't try to confront anybody about anything. You did exactly what you needed to do. Your point stands. I'm not about to do double the work for half the money while this person gets paid for doing absolutely nothing. Hell no. That situation sucks, but we're both adults. We both got to make our money. We got to do our jobs. It is what it is. At least she has the option to, at least she had the option for a week to slack off on work. Not necessarily slack off. She obviously went through what she went through, but at least she had that time to at least not be up to par. But for her to keep continuing that behavior, continuing to be just a drag on the work environment, have her work be given to all these other people, and then the leader or whatever, that person sucks too for sitting there covering for this person, because that's not fair. Like, I understand that this is your friend, she's going through a lot, but you divvying up her work nonstop on other people just so because she's having a bad time doesn't make sense to me. I've always been of the mindset, if we're at work, bro, we just got to get work. We just got to get through it, clock in, clock out. We just got to make it through the shift. I understand there's stuff going on in people's personal lives. A lot of people are having bad days and they have to go into work regardless. What makes you any different? What makes you any more special? Nothing. A lot of people go through stuff and still have to show up at work and do what they got to do, clock in, clock out, cry at home, be sad at home. You could be sad at work too. Like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm dismissing everything that went on, but you're not going to take advantage of me because of your situation. I 100% agree that she was milking the situation and she was doing the most. Going back to my point earlier, at least you had an opportunity to not have to do 100% at work. At least you got that opportunity. I remember like a year or two ago, I'm sitting there working at someone's house. My brother calls me and says, "Hey man, grandma died." I was like, "Oh man, okay." Hang up. I was with my partner at the time, or my work partner. He was working with me, and I just went outside to the truck and just cried a little bit. And then after a while, just got back up, kept working. He's like, "You good?" I said, "Yeah, man. Let's get through the day." We got through the day, went home, sad about it. And then unfortunately for me, I don't have the opportunity to just not work. So I had to go back to work the next day with this bad news. But then, obviously as the funeral came up and everything leading up to it, took a week off to go to where my family is and go for the funeral and all that. My point is, work is work. We all clock in, we all clock out. It's not fair for you to get royal treatment because your situation is bad right now. For some time, I'll let it slide. But if it gets to the point where I'm picking up your slack, I'm doing double the work for less pay. Even going back to one of my previous videos, that generator job, somebody called out and I had to do it. Luckily for me though, I was getting paid double what they normally get paid to do those jobs because they felt bad for just throwing it on me, even though I wasn't comfortable with it. So that's the only difference in this situation. This person is not getting the double the money for double the work. They're just saying, be patient with this person. When I feel like this person was very patient with Lena. So nah, you're not an asshole at all. And I hope something does happen to the leader, because how are you going to sit there and threaten me because I don't want to do someone else's work? What logic is that? Strictly a man's perspective, I guess. I mean, it doesn't even have to be that, but there's no choice. You got to clock in and clock out. You have to make money for your family, or you can't just sit around and just be sad. I don't want to make it a whole thing. That's just, I feel like that's how it is for men, at least. No matter how you're feeling, you just got to clock in and clock out. You got to get through the shift, no matter how you're feeling. I feel like for women, at least you have an option to, I don't want to do this today. And people kind of don't beat you over the head over it for the most part, in my opinion. But again, I'm not trying to make it a man and women thing. But as a man, I'm a man. I only have the experiences of a man. I feel like we don't get to sit there and say, I'm sad, I don't feel like I can do this today, without it being more, without that creating an even bigger issue. We just got to do it. We got to roll with the punches. Yeah, but definitely, you're not an asshole. You did everything you needed to do. I hope HR handles the situation accordingly. But shout out to you. The next story. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend's mom secretly filmed us and called me a slut. Might be a bit long, but please bear with me. I, 21 female, have been staying over at my boyfriend's, 23 male's house more often recently. He still lives at home while saving up, which I don't think would be a huge deal. His mom has always been a bit off but polite to my face. Here's the issue. She has a camera in the living room. It's mounted high up in the corner and is on pretty much all the time. The first time I noticed it, I laughed because I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. It makes me really uncomfortable. I already struggle with how I'm perceived by his family. I want them to like me. So sitting on the couch knowing his mom can open an app and just watch me feels very quote unquote big brother. My boyfriend agreed it was weird, and when we were alone watching a film, we'd sometimes unplug it. His mom noticed and got annoyed. She said we need to stop taking it out and that it's there for security. My boyfriend argued back and said we don't feel comfortable being recorded when we're just watching TV. After a bit of back and forth, she said fine, we can turn it off when we're in there. I thought that was the end of it. A few weeks later, we were watching a movie at night. The camera was off, or so I thought. We were cuddling and kissing. It didn't go further than that. At one point, I was touching him over his clothes, but that was it. We weren't having schmecks. We weren't naked. Yes, maybe we shouldn't have been doing that, but it honestly didn't seem deep to me at the time. She never explicitly said she had an issue with PDA or us being alone there, so I'm not sure what she thought would happen. Anyway, the next day my boyfriend gets a message from his mom. It's a video of me and my boyfriend that night from a completely different angle. She had apparently hidden another camera somewhere in the room that we didn't know about. She sent him the clip and said, "This is what that slut is doing in my house." I don't even know how to explain how I felt reading that. I was so embarrassed and violated. I felt physically sick knowing she had watched it back, that she recorded us, that she saved it, that she sent it to my boyfriend, and who knows how many other people. My boyfriend was angry and confronted her. She said in quotations, it's her house, and she has the right to know what's happening in her living room. She said if I respected myself, I wouldn't be acting like that. I keep thinking, how long has she been recording? Where else are there cameras? What if she sends it to other people? What if she keeps it? This happened this morning and I haven't spoken about it with my boyfriend properly since. I just left his house crying and I haven't been picking up his calls. A small part of me feels ashamed because technically it is her house, but another part of me feels like this is so violating and disgusting. I haven't told anyone else and I don't know what to do. Am I overreacting for saying I don't want to step foot in that house again? It's even making me uncomfortable being with my boyfriend. I don't know why. End story. My initial reaction, are you overreacting by not wanting to go there? I don't think so. But I do feel like I understand the situation is stressful and very violating to you. But I feel like this is equivalent to whenever teens start dating and their parents say, you guys can be in the room, just don't close the door. I feel like unplugging the camera was pretty much closing the door. So ultimately, I feel like his mom is really ultimately looking out for herself because she's like, hey, if you guys mess around and have a grandkid on me, I'm not raising it. You know, she's kind of, I feel like most parents in that situation stress about whether or not their kids are going to get pregnant early, which you guys are early 20s. So it's not necessarily equivalent to a teen getting pregnant, but same thing probably applies in her mind. She is absolutely right that it is her house and you guys should respect her house. Like you said, she never said explicitly she wasn't a fan of PDA or anything like that. And for you, you feel like it wasn't that big of a deal doing what you did, especially because it didn't escalate or you guys didn't go far or anything. So I don't think you're overreacting. I do feel like it's 50-50. You are in the wrong. I feel like the mom is doing a little much by being like, hey, she's a slut for touching her boyfriend. Oh, like that doesn't really make sense. I see both sides, but like I said, I feel like it's pretty common knowledge that most parents would act this way if people or if their kids have their partner over their house. It's like, keep that nonsense out of my house. I feel like that's common sense. Even though you guys didn't go that far, you know, she might be a little more old school. I don't know what her dynamic is. You said she was a bit off. You're worried about how you're seen by the family. So I feel like you should have been even more so on your best behavior, even though nothing escalated into anything. So with that being said, I don't think the mom is wrong. She's wrong for wanting the cameras in her house, for wanting to be in control of her house. She's not wrong for that. How she's going about the situation, I do believe she is wrong. You know, calling you a slut, you know, getting angry, hiding secret cameras. The secret cameras, yeah, she's doing the most. She's doing the most. Like she said, it's her house. You don't have any say over how someone runs their household. You don't. That's just point blank, period. It's just a crappy situation. You're embarrassed. You're ashamed. You not wanting to step back foot in there. If anything, you know, and it's going to be hard. You can apologize. It's either apologize and don't do it again, or never step back foot in your life. You know, the ball's in your court. But good luck to you. I want to know you guys' opinion down below on this story. The next story. Am I the jerk for not telling my wife for 8 years that the coffee she thinks she hates is the coffee she drinks every morning? My wife is going to read this eventually, so hi babe. I'm sorry, but also I'm not. When we first moved in together, my wife told me she only likes light roasted coffee. She said dark roasted is too bitter and too strong, and she can't stand it. She was very firm about this, so I always bought light roasted for the house. About 8 years ago, I accidentally bought a bag of dark roasted. Didn't realize it until I got home and saw the label. I figured I'd just drink it myself and get her the right one next time, but I was lazy and made a pot that morning anyway. She drank it, said nothing, didn't notice at all. Said it was good actually. So the next time I went to the store, I bought dark roast again, on purpose this time. She drank it every morning for a week and never said a word. So I just kept buying it for 8 years. Every morning this woman drinks dark roast coffee and tells me how good it is. Meanwhile, if we go to a coffee shop and I ask what roast she wants, she says light because she doesn't like dark. She has sent back coffee at restaurants for being too dark. She has told friends she can't drink dark roast, all while drinking it at home every single day. Last month, she was putting groceries away and actually looked at the coffee bag for the first time in apparently 8 years. She held it up and said, "Is this dark roast?" I said, "Yep." She said, "Since when?" I said, "Since 2017. She did not laugh. She said I lied to her. I said I just never corrected her. She said that's the same thing. I said you have literally been drinking it every day and loving it for 8 years, so clearly you do like dark roast. She said that's not the point. She's been buying her own light roast since and making a separate pot every morning. She said it's better. I watch her face when she drinks it, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't think it's better, but she's committed to proving me wrong. Am I the jerk? I don't feel like this is just one of those things where it's just marriage, just something very petty or stupid to be mad about, but it's an is what it is situation. You don't really hold it to your heart that much. Her drinking the light coffee, even though she probably doesn't think it's better, just to spite you. It's pretty funny to me. Her saying you lied to her all these years for not giving her the type of coffee she likes, even though she's been drinking it, no issues. It's just one of those things. You just don't get it. It makes sense to your wife, so let it be that. My question to you is, do you not like light coffee? Because what was the big deal of you just not, correcting it then, or just calling it out a week later? Like, why did you let it drag out for 8 years? Do you not like light roast coffee? Because at that point, I don't know. I feel like you kind of are a jerk. In the situation where you don't mind one way or the other, if you just chose to get the one you like more in spite of her, even though she's been drinking it and just keeping it a secret, I guess, you are kind of a jerk for that. Is it divorce him jerk? No, it's just, that was a dick move. That's what it is. I'm not mad at you, though, because I feel like I probably not done the same thing, but I would have thought it would be funny, too. But then as soon as, like I said, that's marriage. Argue over something very minuscule for no reason, but it ends up being something bigger than what it is. I think that's going to be the end of this video. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, in fact. Please do me a favor and don't forget to like the video, subscribe, share it, comment down below some of your favorite stories, your opinion on these stories, and start a discussion down below. Anyways, again, thank you guys so much for the support. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're having a good day. Be good to yourself. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Take it easy. Peace.